Yes.
Hey, what do you mean by a self-paced course?
Well, the course material is available in the form of video lectures. And there are multiple practice problems that come along as well. So, you can access all of it anywhere, anytime. And they are available to you for lifetime.
No way.
Oh, yes, way. Don't delay and enroll now.
Geeks learning together.
Hi everybody, hope you guys are doing great. First of all, let me know in the comments if I'm audible to you so that we can start the session. Just reading out some comments. Hello Santosh, Rishi, Adil. Yeah, the session is starting in another 1 minute. I'm waiting for some more people to join in and then we can start it. Okay, thank you Kajal, Tejas for letting me know that I'm audible. Um, okay, thanks. I'll quickly introduce the guest for the day, Abhishek, who graduated from Christ College of Arts and Commerce in 2019, and he started working with Cognizant in the year 2020, and his profile is of programmer. Yes, it is very interesting to know that he's done BSc in computer science and not engineering, but still landed a job in Cognizant as a programmer. So we'll be hearing about his journey from him from his own words, and currently he's doing his PG from MIT World Peace University. So without wasting any time, I'll quickly call him to the stream so that we can discuss all these things. Apart from that, if you guys have any questions or if you have any queries regarding Cognizant interview preparation, or if you want any tips or tricks, then you can directly comment your queries in the comment section, and we'll be taking up each one of them, and your queries will be answered. Hi Tejas, yeah, I can see your comment that you have a question and you want to ask. You can write it right now, or you can write it by the end of the session. We'll be taking up. Hi Abhishek, how are you?
Hello, Sidra. I'm completely doing great.
Great. So before starting the session, I just wanted you to briefly introduce yourself to the viewers so that they know you in a better way.
Yeah. So basically, starting out from my introduction, I am Abhishek Kantharia, and I am currently into Cognizant. Since 2020 itself, I've joined in, and I was earlier a programmer trainee within that particular organization. So I spent a year as a programmer trainee in it, and then I got promoted recently in several days back. Currently, I am pursuing my post graduation out from MIT World Peace University, and I have joined in that particular university in the year 2020. So it was completely virtual, and as well as I have completed out my graduation out in the year 2019 from Christ College, Arts, Science, and Commerce in the same city itself. So I basically belong from Pune itself, and I previously, the thing that made me get into Cognizant was not just the culture of work that's there in there, but it's mostly like the way they'll make you learn things is also quite the unusual form. So you kind of start getting more passionate about the stuff that you work as well, and then it's also a brand these days because it's ranked as 168 in globally in the case. So within Forbes 500, you will see it in 168. As well as I have done certain events and I've won medals. Recently, I've won an event from Microsoft that was related to Caliber in the year March 2021, and it was for best learner. So that's one thing, and I received a prize from Microsoft. So that's even a great time that I had then.
Okay.
That's it. I mean, I don't have anything else to introduce.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, good to hear about all that. My next question to you is, how did you get to know about the placement at Cognizant? Was it something that was happening in your campus, or was it an on campus, off campus interview?
It eventually was an all-campus drive. I got to know it from a website of AMCAT way back. Now it has changed. It's basically now on Superset's website. So the links have changed and the process has completely changed. But back then, I gave my interview offline. So I had visited Cognizant on-premises location, and it's in Rajiv Gandhi. I think that's the name of it. The area is Injavadi. So I went there and gave the interview, and then actually what happened was they kind of made us wait a long period of time. So I waited for like 2 hours for my interview to come up. When we sat down, after a half an hour, they tried to did all sorts of processes. So first I went through the, I think that was a biometric process that I did, and then I went submitted down my documents later on, and then my process happened. So the HRs are quite slow in Cognizant, but then yeah, it happens gradually. So yeah, that's one thing. I don't know what's the reason behind it, but even our notice periods these days are of 2 months. That's way too.
Yeah.
People say that 3 months in IT is like the best thing as a notice period, but I really don't agree. I really think that 15 days is quite max. That should be a notice period. But then yeah, everyone has their own thoughts, so I won't comment much on that.
Okay. Are you low key hoping your HR to not see this live this webinar?
No, I
Because
don't mind because I mean I already know that my HR would try to understand because I mean the thing is that even your HRs know how they work and also that's not a
yeah.
particular problem. But then yes, I mean if even they question me something or other, I'll try
No,
to
no,
make sure that
yeah, yeah, yeah. It was a
that's not
joke.
a yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I don't
Yeah.
try
Okay.
to.
Right, right, right. So how many rounds of interviews were there, and can you describe each and every round one by one?
Okay, so moving down to the first round, it was an aptitude test. So I had to give it from my home itself. So as I said earlier, that I had registered out from AMCAT, which is the portal. The full form of AMCAT is Aspiring Minds Computer Adaptive Test.
Yeah.
So it basically judges what is your capacity and not just the bookish form of aptitude that's there these days that you see. So it has got sections like I mean yes, these sections are quite same, but there's another section of personality. Uh, I think personality judgment or something like that. So that's one section where your answers don't really matter. It's just how you approach those questions and all. And certain cases, you will also see, stuffs like in logical ability, especially the questions are quite easy, so you don't need to kind of be. It's quite the same way as what the others are, but then the aptitude that the level of aptitude that they ask is not that tough. It has got four sections, which is logical ability, quantitative reasoning, and there are a couple of them which is English comprehensive one, the passage, and then they ask you questions based on that. And the fourth one is I think mathematics. So I think someone who has got even great mathematics and does not even know what coding is can still get into Cognizant. That's one thing which I
Okay.
have got noticed. But that is only for the hiring of my degree that I have done. The other way of hiring is through BTech. They have a
Mm-hmm.
different way of selection process. So in theirs, they will have a automata section, which is basically the coding part. Now
Yeah.
that should be a main decider for them. So I don't know that part, but yeah, for this, it's not. There's no coding round in this particular, first round. Moving to the second round, they will basically intimate you through emails, and that basically happens 6 or 7 days before your scheduled interview. So my in my case, I had my interview on 31st Jan 2020. So my mail came on through 24th Jan. In that case, I kind of read that email. I first of all thought that it could be a joke, because I didn't expect this to happen. And then when I got to know that it's quite real, I just went in there. I informed my parents first of all, like I have got selected into the technical interview, which is the second on itself, and then I kind of went to the location. I was okay with that, but then at the start they were like quite aggressive in terms of checking my pockets and all, and I was like, I don't have anything except for pen and paper. That's it. And yeah,
Yeah.
they left me out, and they just told me to deposit my bag to a security guard. They had those baggage counters, so I had to take a token out from them and then proceed in. So that's how you get into that offline interview section. Then when you once enter to that section, of your interview, they will make you sit into an auditorium hall where you will see 250 candidates literally sitting one after the other in the same. So one row has like 17 or 16 people at a sequence. So there are like 16 columns and 16 rows. That's how you have. For girls, there's a different section of a distance that they keep, and for boys, there is a different section that they keep. So they don't allow boys and girls to sit down with each other. They say that it could turn out to be quite, yeah, controversial and all of that. So that's their policy now. I can't much get into that, but yeah,
Yeah.
that's how I went through. And then they call names, and we had to go and do our biometric and documentation process, and then our technical interviews start. So what happens is they call it in random sequences. My came at last. So I was the last person to give the technical interview, and when my name came in, I just went in. There's a guy sitting. I don't know. He was quite weird. Now I don't know whether he's even there in the organization or not. But he was having his pan masala now, and I don't know what should I react. I just went in, said that I could not control my laughter. I was trying to, but it could not happen. So he just said that I'm glad that you have came. I was waiting for you, and he somehow said that, and I said thank you so much for waiting with me, because even I was waiting for the same thing to happen. And
Yeah.
then yeah, and they have done such things. So I started. I mean, my interview got started like 2.5 hours after that, and then what what happened was like I just started answering questions. So I don't remember all the questions, to be very honest. There was one question, like, I mean, they were quite easy questions, but couple of
But
them I felt like, yeah,
can you
sorry.
recall some topics?
Okay, so the topics that they ask is quite simple. They first of all ask your introduction, so you just introduce yourself, and then they make you to tell what are your skill sets. So depending upon those, your questions are getting asked. So I told SQL, Java, C++ at that point of time. So they asked me questions about. I think what was the question? Yeah. So first question was about creating a table. So they just showed a schema diagram on a paper and then told me to create a table. So I did that. Then they told me to insert a value at this particular index, or you mean if you want to say it in more depth, I would say it as they would basically tell you in a logical diagrammatic manner, like they will point an X sign at this particular column, and then they'll tell you to insert a value at that particular row. So even I answered that question on the paper itself, because I mean, you can't orally speak queries. You have to write it down on that particular case. Some of them don't know SQL, so that interviewer by chance knew SQL, so he kind of did it in a particular manner. If he didn't had known the SQL, he'll start asking you Viva, like what the typical teachers do, what is materialized view, and all of that. Then the next question that they asked me was like, what was that? Yeah. So the next question was, what is that RDBMS or something? And then I said RDBMS is something that I don't know much about. So can I skip this question and all of that? I said him politely, and then he kind of understood it. And the last question that he asked me was about mathematics. So he asked if there are two sets, one has list of even numbers starting from 2, and the other has odd numbers starting from 1. So the intersection of that would be what? I just said pi, null set. That's it. And then he said you can move ahead. I mean, you can go back to your call. So
Okay,
I just,
and
yeah,
like you mentioned, there was no programming round for you because you
no,
came from a different background and not
yeah,
engineering.
yeah.
Okay, all right. And according to you, when should one exactly start preparing for the placements during the
Okay,
college?
that's I think that's completely up to you. But my preparation rather started like 7 or 8 days before the aptitude started. So the aptitude happened on 14 Jan 2020 because I had registered on like 3rd or 4th Jan 2020. I came to know like after December. I think I just was doing random searches and then I got to know it from AMCAT. So that's how I get into this particular process. But then yes, that's I think for this particular thing that of the process that I went through is just enough for 6 7 days before. But if you want to be so good and you want to showcase your interviewer that you are capable for directly landing into a project, then you can start your process 3 months before or 2 months before the current, because that somewhere helps you down the line to get selected. But generally, in our cases, people don't directly deploy us into projects. When we get selected into a particular organization, they give us a 3 to 4 months training because they think that we are not that sufficient when it comes to coding. That's the ideal mindset. I don't know why is that the reason, but I think there is a plan behind it. Maybe there's a committee which decides, and all of that happens. So yeah,
Right. And once you get selected, they train you for programming and various other
I was a
languages.
programmer trainer. I was a programmer trainer. So there are like three subsections within programmer trainer. First, which is a 4 months, is your training period, and they quote you as entry level trainees at that point of time. So after completing that, you they call it as graduating from Cognizant Academy. There's a Cognizant Academy that runs
Okay.
there. They call it as graduating, but that's not, there's no degree or something. It's just a term that they use it. So graduating means you secure certain amount of percentage. So we have to actually cross 70% and above in that, and then we simply do it. And that training is quite simple. It's just that you need to clear assessments on time in on first attempt itself. If that does not happen, then you are kind of, you will have to give a reattempt. And if it's the I had two assessments in that after when I got into trading. So first assessment I cleared it within the first attempt, but second assessment was way too at the end of my duration. So I could not clear that, and then I gave the second attempt and I cleared successfully. But my onboarding within the project rather depends upon how many assessments do you clear and how early do we do it. That's the thing. So they give you a date, and on based on that date itself, you have to appear. If let's say there's an internet issue or something, then they will kind of compensate it and skip it into a particular date, but they will inform you a day before. That's how it is. So you need to be very much mentally prepared in such cases. But
Yeah, and
and
it
then
also,
after, yeah, yeah, you
yeah,
can, no,
yeah,
you can
please go.
go ahead. Okay, let me go ahead. And what I meant was, okay, I covered that first 4 months period. Now after that, the next period is completing up your RDP, which is role development plan. It has been set for you so as to perfection out your skill and also develop certain ways of learning. So I kind of had 6 different programming languages to pursue in that. There was data stage, Cognos, Informatica, SQL, PLSQL, and they had another one which I don't remember at the moment.
Okay.
So that's one thing. But yeah, that these are the things that I had. RDP is for 6 months of duration, so they make you wait for like 2 months, and then they will make you, do uh, great things. So I mean, I just waited for 2 months, and then I got deployed in the project in the month of like, yeah, some month. I mean, I don't remember that, but that's how it happens. First 4 months is your normal training that they give, with assessments to be given, because that there it has some percentage or something. They call it as RAG, which is rapid assessment graph, and there are three parameters within it. One is green, one is red, and one is yellow. Yellow or amber. Some of them call it as amber. So green is basically that you pass it on. You have cleared everything, and then you are good enough. And while training, you also have to do a project on whatever skills that you learn. So the project that I'm talking is for the first 4 months. After that, you get deployed into another project, and then you start working with your colleagues, fellow colleagues. That's what happens. So yeah, that's how the process is. And yeah.
And if someone is unable to clear any of the assessments, then does that person get kicked out of the company or
Okay, that's a good question. So let
yeah?
me get to that straight away. What happens is you will only get 3 attempts to clear. If you don't clear it within 3 attempts, they will make you sign an agreement doing another attempt from their end, so as to make you get another chance and get into that other process. If you don't clear, that's very rare, to be very honest. None of them have really went through in my case. whenever I seen other people within my batch that have done their assessments, they have never faced this. But yet again, if that happens, they will get kicked out for sure.
Okay. Okay.
Kicked out in the sense they will give you salary and then they will kick out. They won't do that. Like they won't uh, not end up not giving you salaries, and then they not can make you get into
Yeah.
trouble. So certain companies do have that policy as well, but in our case, it's not that point.
Okay. All right. Okay. And what was your preparation strategy when you were in college, if there was any?
Okay. Uh, Preparation strategy of such wasn't much because the I mean to be very frank, I just gave an aptitude test which was based on 10th and 12th based questions and it has also had a bit of like collegiate questions, but then they were not much, so it rather was a preparation that was done way back then in my 10th standard as well as 12th science. But I kind of prepared 7 days back, and my strategy was just to uh, get into certain sample papers of not Cognizant, but let's say aptitude test of CDS or maybe something like that. So the level of that was quite higher. That made me kind of feel confident after that, and then I gave it. So I didn't kind of pressurize myself. Whatever you can learn, just do that. Don't tend to over relate yourself into some other concept and say that this concept has a higher weightage and get into that. Because when you remain balanced in terms of your mind process, then itself you can somewhere down the line attempt in a very good manner. That's my way of preparing. I don't tend to. I mean, to be very frank, I'm quite a slow learner. I'm not someone who would rather get to do in a very faster manner. Like you may see tutorials and all of that, like to 1 month and everything is done, like 35, 36 chapters in 1 month. So I can't do in that way. But yes, I mean, if you even prepare 5 to 6 chapters in every section, let's say for logical ability, there are like 20 chapters. If you prepare 7 or 8, it's still fine. You still have the, I mean, it could be like, the questions may come out from anywhere, but if you even sometimes there are questions that are somewhere down the line difficult, you can still do guesswork out in the particular fashion depending upon the knowledge that you have as well. Don't just do a blind guesswork, because at the end it may feel like a bit regretable at certain times, and that can make you get in the stress as well at a later point of time. It has never happened to me, but then to some of them it had, so I just was sharing the experiences as well.
Okay. Fair enough. Coming to my next questions. Next question. What projects you worked on, and what extra did you put on your resume to make it stand apart from rest of the resumes? Because usually, it's all in the hands of HR to filter out the resumes and take it from that lot. So you must have highlighted something, or you must have had a project that you worked on.
To be actually, my resume wasn't the ideal form of it. First of all, I wanted to tell you all that an ideal resume should be of 2 pages. My resume crossed about like 4 pages to be that way, and
Oh yeah.
yeah, that's one thing that should not happen. But it's quite rare that they select you in that basis. Maybe they have seen something. But to be very frank, I kind of read the resume once after I got selected into the company, that it standed out because of certain achievements that I did in voluntary services. So that somewhere down the line did make me feel like happy. At the same time, it was more on the stuff that I did in the past, and that I somewhere did just highlighted it. I didn't try to overdo something that people normally do. That try to show off and say that that's my thing, and then your interviewers do certainly catch. In an HR interview, especially, they will ask you questions which are quite twisted, and that happens as well. In my HR interview, it was not that the case because everything was quite straightforward, and that didn't happen. But for some of them, they might try to do it depending upon their communication skills as well. So it is also important to go through your communication part. Just the basic thing, just be more good in terms of vocabulary. Your fluency doesn't matter much, but yes, your pace of communication and the vocabulary that you present down within an interview is quite the utmost greatness that you would rather be standing out towards the others. Yes, on resume, if you had to, I started my resume out by elaborating about my education details. That's how I started. Then I went through my projects that I did. Then I kind of also elaborated a bit about my research work that I had done. Then I came as for fourth section being the case of my voluntary services, and then the last was my achievements. So that's
Oh,
the only thing that I uh, kind of made it through within my resume. And it was quite a simple one. I didn't even had a photograph. Normally people keep that, and that I learned after I got selected into organization that you need to keep a photograph. That too
yeah.
even I think 7 or 8 months later. So I didn't
Oh,
even knew that you had to keep a photograph and do all of that stuff.
yeah, yeah. Okay.
So even
Uh,
keeping a photograph is more important. Just
mhm.
yeah, because it somewhere appeals down to the interviewer that it's you as an individual in terms of face, because they sometimes fail to recognize you. That's also something that I've seen in the same hall. Like I mean, when I was going into for my technical interview, I was looking around and seeing how are the others doing. So some of them didn't recognize the candidates that is there standing in front of them. So that has also happened. And then yeah, that came happen, but I didn't kind of react to that. I just straight away went and gave my technical. HR was quite yeah, my HR interview was quite this shorter version of it. I just went for like 4 minutes and then it was all done. The HR seemed to be very happy and all. I don't know what happened, but then yeah, that was it
Okay.
with the case. I didn't even ask him that because I thought that he might reject me or something. So I was a bit scared, but that never happens to me because I now work, so I get to know that the HRs are quite frank, but they don't try to show that into someone who's to whom they are taking an interview. That's one thing that I've noticed. Now even the HRs that are taking interviews are quite more inexperienced. The ones that are taking interviews are not that experienced, so they will even be more what do you say friendly in terms of approach. But early on, when I gave my interview offline back there, they were managers of HR, so they seemed to be quite strict at that point of time. Even the technical interview had that version of strictness that they portrayed, but each and every interviewer wasn't the same. So yeah, that's the thing. The key thing in a resume for me is uh, be more specific in terms of how you put down words. Sometimes what happens is you just write it as selected in this, there, and this, but you don't kind of mention what have you done after that. That's also one thing which I mean, I have kind of also seen certain resumes. I also mentor now to couple or three different batches of the let's say the groups that are there within Cognizant Academy. So they are also getting trained, and then because we help them as well in solving their questions and assessment related doubts, as well as teach them certain concepts. So that somewhere helps them to leverage out their skills and stand out as well. So that's one thing where I've assessed over that particular point of time. There were doubts, and people somewhere down the line were like, I mean, how to kind of end up myself doing this. Now, I just said that be yourself. Don't try to do much of fidgeting around because that somewhere down the line won't appeal the person in a very as you said that standing out does make sense. But I feel that standing out is not something which only happens because of your resume. It also is due to a character. Sometimes your resume won't be like that great or something, but when you see the individual, it's like we should take this person in my team. That's something that I was looking out for, and I found that out from him or her. And to be very honest, even transgenders can give interview into Cognizant. That's even something that I can assure you because I have seen like I mean in my case it wasn't the time where it used to happen, but now I see like the other genders are also coming, the ones that are from LGBTQIA plus community. So that's also another thing that I would suggest that even they should apply. But obviously, I mean, I don't know how many of them will get selected because there is a specified number of people that they take in. So the competition even for them is quite high.
Mm-hmm. And I think this happened recently only because I around a year back I read this in the news that Cognizant are taking people from LGBTQIA plus community as well.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
really
Not a year back. I think it was from the time that I started, but way back I saw I think 3 or 4 of them, but they never got selected. So that
okay.
didn't take it in as a revolution for getting a fresher based placement. But then yes, having said that, I basically made my own mark by, yeah, I mean, I just made, I mean, now since it was a year, so we had to also share links to other students. So every June or July or maybe May or March or maybe Jan, at this point of time, you will see an off-campus placement drive going on. So
Okay.
for us, it could be through Superset or through a link that they share. It could be through AMCAT as well. So you need to be pretty prepared of that. And now it's all completely virtual. So they will ensure that no cheating or nothing happens. So they will actually give you a link of safe exam browser for giving you the test. And what
Okay.
happens is in that you can't even navigate your screen, nor you can shut down, nor can you do anything. It's just your mouse. You need to hover it down and attempt those questions. Even your camera will remain on. Even you will have to share your screen as well. I'll give you the test. So it's quite the secure form of giving a particular test, and it enables you to not do no. For a proctor, it's quite easy because they can easily catch a person. No,
Yeah.
if they even, yeah, that's the thing.
Okay. And from my side, and now I'll be taking up some queries from the comment section because there are people who are asking some questions to you. So I'll highlight a few of them.
Sure, sure, sure. Why not?
First
Let's
one
go
is
ahead.
Arzu. Yeah, Arzu wants to know when can I expect mail for interview after clearing the aptitude.
When can I expect mail for interview? Okay. See, again, it depends. Some of my colleagues had got the mails out after 11 days of the interview. You mean the technical interview or the HR interview? That's, oh, okay. This person means clearing aptitude. Okay. I took it in a wrong form. So,
Yeah.
yeah, after you clear your aptitude, it will take around 7 being the minimum, and it could even take 12 to 13 as being the maximum. So there is no such fixed timing. But yes, I can tell you that the time at which they send is in AMs and not in PMs. That's one thing that I can tell you. So if you are a night, owl or something, you can easily stare at your mails and see whether you have got your selection
Okay.
or not.
This
But don't
person
try
wants to
to.
know. Yeah.
Just one thing that I wanted to add in this question is that don't try to panic or call them because they sometimes don't. I mean, the thing is that nothing is in their hands as well. Because if you don't get selected, what they can even do? So people get panicked and they start writing mails and then they try calling them up. So in such cases, they will only try to convince you that wait for some time, but that never happens to be case. If the offer letter is destined enough to come to you, then it will come. Or maybe if for this case it's for interview, so let me say clear it out by saying that if an interview happens, your interview mail will come, else it won't come. That's how it is. Yeah.
Okay. Uh, DN Show wants to know when once he joins the company, after how many months will he get promoted? I think that's what he wants to ask. I'm still not sure.
Okay. That's let me get straight to that. So after you complete out your BTech, for example, you get selected into Cognizant by completing all 3 rounds. And in your case, it would be quite the higher designatory as compared to us. You will be starting as a programmer analyst trainee as being from BTech, not from my particular background if you started with. So you get 1 year for both of them. In both of these processes, either you get selected from BSc, MSc, or not MSc, BSc or BCA or BA, then you get a programmer position after 1 year of completion. So before 1 year, you start your designation as programmer trainee in our case. But in engineering's case, it's programmer analyst trainee. And after the completion of the first year itself, you will have a designation of programmer analyst for BTech. For us, it's programmer. So we remain, let's say, a designation back and a couple of years behind from the engineering people in terms of promotions, being the case.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how it
I
is.
think we've covered most of the questions, and yeah,
Yeah, I even
and
feel the same.
even the comments are, yeah, even comments are all the more same. So
Yeah,
it's time
I
to
think
end the session, and
someone has asked. I think someone has asked
yeah,
about how can I grow there, about getting selected into Cognizant from on campus. So I haven't given on
yeah,
campus, but yes, I know about the on campus thing as well. So I mean, if you get selected into on campus, it's a great thing. But to be very sure, the on campus part starts out from a Cognizant Digital Nurture program. but that's not for people who complete their BSc. It's for people who completed the MSc, MCA, or MTech. So for or maybe BTech as well. So BTech also has that particular sort of scheme where they get enrolled into a Cognizant Digital Resume program for 6 months. Then when they clear that completely, they will get a 3 month of internship, and that has a stipend of 10,000 so every month, and then you get a job after you accept the offer letter, joining letter.
Right.
That's what they say. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, we've taken most of the
Yeah,
queries.
we have kind of
Yeah.
addressed all sorts of queries that are there in the chat, but I
Yeah.
don't see a lot of queries. I don't know what's the reason. Maybe they might not be much more into it. So
No, because the discussion was already so
in depth. Okay, okay, yeah,
yeah,
I
yeah,
got it.
so in depth and yeah, yeah, very descriptive. So I don't
Right.
think there's a need
There
to
would be
ask a
questions
lot.
coming up. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
And
So
if
someone
an
has asked about PG while working. Yes, you can
yeah,
pursue PG while working, but the thing is, you have to manage your time, man. You won't get enough time to sleep. That's one thing which I can tell you about it, because your sleeping hours will tend to reduce by like 4 to 5 hours per day. That could be the case. Now it differs. Some of them manage to get an 7 or 8 hours sleep, which is recommended, but then most of them don't get that opportunity. So it's quite risky. But if it's an online degree, being pursued, and then you go to work as an offshore, basically means at office. No, offshore basically means at your home, and onshore basically means at the office. So if you go to work at onshore, then you must expect a distance or an online, and that would be my recommendation as if you pursue a PG. I actually was lucky enough to pursue PG because my happened to be quite online at the start, and it was in the year 2020, so all of that went through pandemic, and things started to happen like that. Now the colleges would open, but then I'm quite safe. I won't be going it because my coursework is already done, and the rest is about to be done, but that's already something which can be done from home. So they don't expect us to come on college now, or university, being the case.
okay, okay,
Yeah.
that's good. Yeah, there is
I
no
think there are no
query
questions. I
left
don't see any
in the
queries down in the chat. So yeah, I mean, it's okay if we close other session. Okay, there
yeah.
is a question, I think, like Gen C for tester, Gen C Elevate for developer, Gen C Pro. I can't see the question completely. Uh, Maybe it's because of the size. Could you read that for me if that can happen? Um,
Yeah, which one?
the
This
last
time
one,
Cognizant, I
no, no,
think,
not the
yeah.
one. There's a question in there which is related to like Gen C. You can see it out.
Yeah, I'm not sure what this person wants to ask, so I did not take it up because
Okay,
it's an
I think this
incomplete
is
question.
related to the selection process through digital nurture program. That's what I can get to know out from this. So see, I mean, for tester, if you want to get in, you can get in through every form. You can get in it also from Gen C Next as well. That does not matter at all from where you get in, but your salary structure really differs. For Gen Z Pro, you get a salary of 4 LPA, and then there's a skill bonus that you get up from Gen Z Pro. From Gen Z Elevate, it's just the same as Gen Z, but then in Gen Z Elevate, you get a normal simple bonus after a year of completion. For Gen Z Pro, it's 5 lakhs. Sorry for that, I earlier made the mistake, but for Gen Z Pro, it's 5 lakhs per annum, and for Gen Z Elevate, it's 4 lakhs per annum, and then the extra bonus that you get of 25% from your CTC. And for Gen Z, it's the same 4 lakhs, but there's no bonus and anything. So that's the least, I mean, the least preferable position that people want to go in from there. It's not a position. I mean, I just say it as a position. It's just the path from which you take in up. So sometimes, you want a second chance, so you go on either from Gen Z next to Gen Z Elevate or Gen Z, but only second chances are given to those who have appeared for Gen Z next interviews. So if they fail, only then they get the chance to get into the other stuff. I have a good knowledge in DSA, but my communication skill is an average. See, your communication skill would be an average, but how far does the interview think that your communication skill has to be an average? Don't try to kind of justify yourself in that manner that you are an average person, because that tends to come into your personality, which is also somewhere down the line not a good impression for the interview. So don't never ever say that your communication skill is an average. It could be because you might have kind of heard it from teachers that this is an average thing or something, but never ever try to compare yourself from others. That's one thing which will always also try to make you even more confident than someone who's trying to make it a point that I'm this, I'm that. Don't try to make an image. Let the other person also try to yeah, let the other person also try to understand that as well, and let them figure out what you are. Don't try to give hints. Don't try to be someone who would rather make them obvious. So you have to be a slightly playful person as well in the interview, but not don't try to make it overdo. So that's one thing. And yeah, your communication skill, if you think that it's really an average, also in terms of you putting down as an answer, I think you can only improve it when you try to speak it out with your own form. Your confidence really puts your language in a form where you may tend to also look at in several aspects. Maybe it's also due to vocabulary. So let me put down as well. Your vocabulary is something that would rather be a turning point. So try to read dictionaries, try to read passages, shorter passages at the first, and then try to move down to longer passages. I see that people jump down to reading articles of like 17, 18 pages, and then they don't understand anything. So try to first of all read something which is shorter in terms of the line complexity, because that will help you to understand things in a segmented form. Segmentation means breaking down into words and then from words to its respective meanings. That's how it is. So, okay, there's another question that I see. What type of questions do they ask within an interview? I have already, I think you need to go back and see the live session. That is how I feel that would happen. And yeah, that's it. I mean, I don't have anything else to address. I think, yeah, then good to go.
Yeah. Currently we are running out of time because we have already exceeded
Yeah,
the time limit. It was 30 minutes. So I just
true.
wanted
Very
to
true.
quickly wind this up. And guys, if your queries got unanswered, then you can put them in the comments and we'll try addressing them over the comments only. Rest assured, no, none of the queries will get unanswered. And
Yeah,
thank you, Abhishek, for joining in and
thank you
giving
so much as well.
such a descriptive view of Cognizant preparation strategies. I'm sure everybody who joined the webinar, they'll go away with a lot of key takeaways and things that they really wanted to know. And yes, if you have any piece of advice to give, then this is the time. Please go ahead.
Okay, so see, I mean, first of all, don't try to think about promotions and all that I see in the chat, because the thing is, I mean, okay, there are questions, but then I'll address this later on after the session ends. But yes, to give her advice to all of you, being a fresher or not being a fresher now, it depends by that. But mostly for freshers, I would try to give an advice that don't try to put yourself in a situation where the interviewer might tend to judge you as not fittable. That's the first suggestion that I would say. And the second suggestion would be never, try to I mean, these days, as I see in the virtual interviews, people don't try to open up quite well. The interviewer may tend to keep his or her camera off. That should not be the case of yours to keep it off. That's one thing. People have done that as a mistake, and then they got rejected because of that small silly mistake as well. So the platform, as I said, it could be Superset, it could be any other platform where your interviews may happen. So that thing somewhere down the line will make you get under a problem as well. And the third thing that I also would like to address out as an advice is be more vigilant as a fresher, because your energy and enthusiasm will somewhere down the line work for you in the earlier days. It's being something which also stands you apart when you even join the organization. It's not just within an interview. It's throughout your life that will carry it out as a case. So these are my advices that I have.
Okay, thanks a lot, Abhishek, for joining in.
Yeah,
We had a wonderful time with you, and good luck
definitely.
for future endeavors. Hoping to welcome you again in the webinar really soon.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Thank you so much to all of you, being so grateful and grateful to me in making me join this, and also make me to share certain experiences in various manners as well, because I mean I never had these sorts of interactions before, and this somewhere down the line makes me feel so good. And yeah, I'll address all of those questions by the time that it happens, but now we don't have time, so I can't answer any of your questions. Just
Right.
quite sorry for
Uh,
that. Yeah.
yeah. You guys can directly DM him over LinkedIn if you want to, and then there also you can get your
But
question.
I think DM is something in LinkedIn that won't happen for basic accounts. You need to have a premium account for that. For mobiles, I think it would work. So try doing DM only through mobile. Maybe that would work because it does work for me. So I'm saying it. But for basic accounts, it does not work through your web browser or the application that you install within your PCs or laptops. That's one
Yeah.
thing that I could say. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Abhishek, once again.
Yeah. Yeah. You're most welcome. I mean, it's
Yeah.
been a
Good luck.
great
Bye.
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Bye.
Bye.
Yes, we'll be providing you with his LinkedIn ID in the YouTube description only, so you can access it from there. And thank you everyone for joining in. We'll be back again with another webinar tomorrow. So stay safe till then. Bye.